What's up, everyone? Welcome back to another riveting, at least in my opinion, episode of Be More As you know, this is kind of like a Be More moment. This is where I talk about media and live streaming, but related to some things that are going on in media in general. But we actually have some cool things for, and I say we because it's not just me.
Close the doors, walk across the corridor. We got something to show you. Media is our repertoire.
We are a we today. I have with me the incomparable Shawanna Kennedy. Shawanna, are you here?
Hello, Dr. Tachi. I'm excited to be here. For those who don't know, I'm Shawanna Kennedy with Kennedy Media, the video productions director, where I help you be seen, heard, known, and paid for your brilliance. I'm excited about this moment because we have a lot to discuss. Let's talk about it.
Let's talk about it. And it's not lost on me that your introduction, and let me just say, first of all, do you all have an introduction like that? If you don't, you should. You should know exactly who you are and be able to articulate it. Because remember, we talked about bragging on yourself the last time, and that was such a hit with you all. I'm just now noticing all the different things. So that's an excellent way of introducing yourself, Shawanna. Thank you for that. Oh gosh. Okay. See, just say thank you and move on, Shawanna.
We have fun together, guys. And that's the key too. We have to talk about that too. When we choose to work with people and collaborate with them, there needs to be some type of chemistry. So we have got to say that, because that could be the difference between you making money. I'm just saying, because chemistry, it does a lot of amazing and beautiful things when you can work together, because there's a nice dance, right, between the personalities. So I love it, y'all. I love it here.
So do I. And that was an excellent example of the chemistry. I 100% agree. You do have to have chemistry. I've been on podcasts where I may have liked the person personally, but we don't have chemistry, like in terms of a co-hosting situation. And we did not have chemistry. And people told me, I love what you do, but I don't like you with this person because they don't play well off of you. And I know I have a big personality. So I don't know, and trying not to and that person was very deadpan. So you do have to have the chemistry, and it does feed into what we're talking about today. Today, we're talking about video and monetization of video, and how video alone won't work. And so that fact of having chemistry kind of factors into how well your videos do, right? Whether or not people want to listen to and watch your videos. So chemistry is one aspect of it. And that's not what we're getting into today, but keep that in the back of your head for maybe a possible conversation between Shawanna and I at some other point. Okay, so today, video alone, that ain't it. In vernacular, that ain't it. That is not it. And let me tell you, we wanted to talk about this because we have these conversations, and in our conversations, different topics will pop off. And this is one of the ones that popped off because we were talking about, and then I want to let you get in. We were actually talking about tandem things and tandem services and tandem products to add in addition to what we already do. And so we had all of that. I said, wait, here we go. I'm feeling something. This is the topic, right? So that's what we're talking about today. So Shawanna, do you have any thoughts on this whole thing? Go ahead.
No, I love it, because if you're choosing to be seen and be heard, there's nothing wrong with you being paid, right, for your brilliance, for your expertise. So having off-camera conversations with the brilliant mind and the likes of, you already know her, Dr. Tachi, it's where we get to having these conversations and how you can do a spin-off where I really do believe in multiple streams of income. We know that that's even in the good book. And it's so many things that we are doing right now that if we really thought about it, we can, I like to say, squeeze a little bit more out of whatever that thing may be. So which brought us to this conversation. And of course, if you know me, I promote video visibility. However, that's why we say, video is not enough. There are so many more things that we can do with what you're already working with, right? Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. So video alone cannot work. And this is the whole thing of in anything, we're talking about multiple streams. And I think this is a mistake that a lot of aspiring content creators, aspiring filmmakers, whatever the case may be, that they think that the video alone is enough. And let me tell you, back in the day, maybe it was. Back in the day, maybe it was enough. But this is not back in the day. It's a completely new day, and you have to think about things differently. So if we look at the industry, the traditional industry now, opportunities are shrinking, right? First of all, they were already small because only a certain number of people are ever going to get their production seen on a quote unquote national stage in traditional media, right? It's a small number to begin with. But even those opportunities are shrinking. So if it's shrinking for them, you think it's not doubly shrinking for you? It is. And so you have to think about things in multiple streams of income. So all we have to do is look at some of these people. I keep thinking about, okay, for example, Gwyneth Paltrow, right? I don't know the last time she was in something. God forgive me, but but she's an actress, right? But what else does she have?
Yeah.
She has Goop, right? Her brand.
Well, you could be literally here today and gone tomorrow. Really,
exactly.
You have to do things to stay top of mind.
Exactly. And products can do that. Jessica Alba and The Honest, I think Honest is hers, The Honest Company. So she's another person that, I mean, she still acts, I believe, but I think she kind of heads back to it because this Honest thing is honestly making a lot of money for her. So you can look at all of the tandem products and tandem services that some of these people that are notables have, and that lets you know, because you're only as good as your last project with those types of things. So I think here's the thing too. People see YouTube, and I love YouTube. I talk about YouTube every time we get together. So you all already know how much I believe in YouTube as a platform. But the average person, and Dr. Vibe talks about this all the time. Dr. Vibe and I think it was Kirk Nugent, creator that talks about that. No. It was Roberto Blake. Sorry. So Roberto Blake, if you're not following him, you should be. Great information. Was talking about that only, don't get me to lying, I'll probably have to put it on the screen. I think he said I think 4% of all YouTubers have over 10,000 subscribers. Only 4%. Okay, so what does that tell you? If we look at
the rest are consumers.
Exactly. So, well, that means there are an awful lot of people that are consuming video. Exactly. They're not necessarily worried about creating, but then there are also a lot of creators who are not hitting that mark. That you need to have a certain amount of subscribers on YouTube and watch hours in order to get into their monetization program, right? So if you're waiting on that, so I think it's for the program where you could do the super stickers and the super chats. It's 500 and 3,000 watch hours. In order to be in the YouTube creator program, it's 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 watch hours. Or you could do the thing with the shorts. I think it's 10 million shorts views, and for the first one is 3 million shorts views. So
that's still a lot of numbers, and that hence why it's only that the percentage is so low.
Exactly. So if that is the case, how do you think you're going to make money if you want to be a full-time creator? And some of these people that have numbers now, they've been doing YouTube for like 10 to 15 years.
Yeah. So that's why you really have to be mindful to don't believe the hype, as the song said. I can't remember what decade that was. Oh, that's so good. Wow.
Public Enemy.
I know, right? We have to be mindful and do our due diligence, because some of the people that look like, oh, you could be a star tomorrow. I say, when I even look at my own life, and you be like, oh my God, you made it. Yeah, but what you're looking at is 20 or 30 years of work that people didn't see. So what looks like it's happened overnight, yeah, there was a whole lot of nights of that hard work, sweat, tears, and some of the things that we care not to discuss for anybody who has made it, well, what's considered made it, because we know we have to be okay to measure our own success. So it's like, what does that look like for you? But I guarantee you, we all have a story. And it's so no one, I don't believe anyone has made it overnight. That has come at a cost. The thing is, are you paying attention to what you're paying attention to? And is the cost worth it to you? Hence why we're talking about monetization today with some of your content. Yeah.
Indeed. I think, though, there are some creators who look at people, they don't see the 10 to 15 years. They don't see the 20 years of work you put into because let's be clear, before you were on, for example, a YouTuber creating content for 10 to 15 years, there were things that you were doing that were leading up to you coming to that point. Even if you think it was not related, every experience is related somehow to you.
Wax on, wax off. Something that you were doing. I say we're always being prepared for what's prepared for us.
Yes.
Yeah, even if you don't realize it, it's some skill, something that you've done that when you step into that position, when we get into alignment, you don't have to work. It's not as hard. Yes, there's work involved, but I believe when we're in alignment with what is divinely designed for us, it begins to be a little bit easier. And you'll be like, that's why I had to do that 5 years ago, because now I'm going to need that thing that I learned that I thought it was stupid and it made no sense.
Absolutely. No experience is wasted, even though it feels like a waste at the time. At the very least, you know what you don't want and what you will not accept, right? So no experience is wasted, 100%. So going forward to this, it takes time to build yourself to the point of becoming a content creator. But I think that sometimes people who are aspiring content creators think that it can be an overnight thing. And by overnight, they're like, oh, well, within like 9 months, I'm going to be able to do what? Maybe not. You might still only have 10 people watching you after 9 months. And that's no shade, because those 10 people are very important. It doesn't matter. If those same 10 people are sticking with you,
that means people actually are the right 10 people. That's all you need. Let's say that.
That's all you need. Exactly. And that shows you have the makings of a community. If the same 10 people are sticking with you, that means you have the makings of a community, and there's the propensity and the potential to build, because at least these 10 people are with you, right? So somebody likes what you're saying, right? So that's the thing. The whole thing is that you build to this point, but you build to this point and you think you're going to do it overnight. It doesn't happen.
Yeah. But you know what kind of messed it up? We have to say it. Here it is. The pandemic kind of made a few people, because a few people did just pop on a camera and their stuff like blew up. But then that's why you still have to have the stuff that, you have to have some stuff on the inside, and that's Shawanna, because those things can only keep you for so long. Because a lot of those creators, because there's still work to be done. So even for the people who was a 1 or 2 offer that using and thinking about TikTok, where because of the pandemic, they literally blew up because of making some crazy food, eating something crazy, putting on a costume, doing some weird stuff. That can only hold you for so long, because then you're going to have to get more radical to every round guy has to go higher and higher, or you will fade. That's why you need something that is sustainable. You need something that is consistent. You need something that that you actually love, that you don't mind doing it, whether you got paid for it or not. I always say, if we're doing what we love, the kicker is that, oh my God, and people pay me to do this? Really?
Exactly. You need something, as Shawanna says, that you actually care about, that you would do for free. Because here's the thing. Once you start on a trajectory of something, of creating content, if it's not what you normally would do, and you're just doing it for the likes, the subscribes, etc., people, your audience, is now going to keep coming back to see you do that thing. They don't care about what you really want to do. All I know is that I saw you doing this, and this is what I want to continue seeing you do. They don't care about what your real dreams and aspirations are. This is why it's so difficult, because I see a lot of YouTubers, and we see this in the beauty space, right? There are quite a few YouTubers that started off doing beauty, right? And people latched onto them for that. But then they wanted to transition to something else. Now, for some, it worked out because they took their audience on a journey of, I'm thinking about also adding in this. Okay, I'll give you a good example. And she talks about this all the time. Raven Elise, if you've ever seen her YouTube channel, she started off as a beauty influencer, right? So doing makeup and all of those types of things. But she was also a mom, like a young mom. So she was in her 20s and she had a little daughter. And so she then kind of transitioned from just doing beauty to doing kind of mommy content. But then she decided that's not all she wanted to do. So now she's more of a lifestyle person of a DIY. People know her for these wonderful parties and things that she does. But in that, and here's the kicker. This is what you all have to realize, that you are going to lose some of your core audience that came to you for this. Some of them are going to stick with you because they like you as a person and an individual, and it doesn't matter what you talk about. But some people say, I came to you for you to see what lipsticks, and that's what the hell I want to see. I'm leaving. And that's okay. That's no longer your audience. So an alternative is, if you think you also want to have some other content, maybe that one channel is not the place to do it. Maybe you should open another channel and then you can do what you want to do. Like, so you want to do interior design. Multiple streams, exactly, because that's another account that you can monetize and that you don't have to confuse your audience with. Go ahead, Shawanna.
No, I love what you were saying, because that's she's the perfect example, having not 1, 2, 3 things. And because these platforms right now, even though of course they get their percentage right now, you could go and literally start 3 YouTube channels to feed into all of the things that you want to do for fun, and build them, or take your time building them as you go. But I am a big proponent of taking people on the journey, because even if I was doing makeup, but I also sold this shirt, I'm going to talk about this shirt a little bit. So then you'll already know, hey, if you want more of this, then you can go over here and check out this. So I'm a big proponent on taking people on the journey with us. That's what makes them not just like us, but they love us and they go with us and they follow us because they want to know more. People want to know more. That's why your story can make you money. Because remember, we're talking about monetization. So our stories can literally, we can live off our stories if they're positioned the right way. That's part of this too, when I think about it, because we have to even plan what we're going to even say and show about our lives, about our stories. So when you're thinking about it, when you think about all of this is strategy, it's the planning, it's the positioning, so that you can even not only do the thing, but then you can repurpose it. When we think about monetization, it's saying with this one thing, even with, we'll use this show right here, Be More. There's so many other elements that can come off of a spin-off of this. You have your guests, but think about it. If you do a show, you realize there's audio to this. You could take the audio to this and put it on podcast. Podcast does its own thing with just the audio. Some people don't even care if they ever saw your face. We know that there's a business just for people that want to listen to your voice. How about those people that they get to talk like this and they make a lot of money just whispering? But then there's also where you can take the same snapshot, you can put your caption, your meme, and you make money off of that. So just be mindful of the things that you're doing, because it all can make money. That's why I say everything can be content. There's money to be made all across the board.
Absolutely. So what she's talking about there is now repurposing that content in different forms on different platforms. So you have a contingency of people, as she said, that love podcasts. There are some people that podcasts have tremendous power as well. So that's something to think about. Also think about that there are some people that are driving in the mornings. My time to listen to podcasts is when I'm driving. So if I'm going somewhere and I know I'm going, for at least half an hour, I will pop in a podcast because I can start listening to it and I listen to the rest of it on the way home. That there are people that do that. There are people that maybe not driving, but on the train in the morning, and they can listen to that. If you're in New York City, pay attention so you don't miss your stop. But anyway, there are people that listen to that. So definitely think about all aspects of your audience, because that's a different stream of monetization. Now, I'm not going to lie and act like, oh, it's a whole bunch of money. It may or may not be, right? Because generally some podcasts, people that advertise, they pay per million, which means per 1,000 listeners. So, and it's not super high per 1,000 listeners, which means that you have to have a lot of cohorts of 1,000 for that to start to add up. But don't say no to money. That's still extra money that you would not have anyway. So that's something to think about.
But I'll even say this though. I have to put this in here with that, even like you said, because it may not be a lot of money depending on what that is, but what it's still doing is creating visibility. It is creating visibility across the World Wide Web. And when if you're a business owner or entrepreneur, it's like when they literally say, Google me, it's so many things that will have the opportunity to raise up and come up top if you're in multiple valued places and spots, because they could hear you speaking over here, especially if you're a speaker. Why wouldn't you want your voice heard, or them to be able to go on a YouTube and pull up your information? So this is why it's important to me, because I'm all about promoting visibility, because you want to be top of mind no matter what you do. Top of mind can get you paid. So remember, you have to use all of these streams, or they can be used depending on who you are and what you do, to make you more visible online, because people are looking us up before they ever give us a phone call, before you ever receive an email. They're checking us out, and we have to remember that. That's why you want stuff of value, right? The same way you need to scrub some of that stuff from back in your heyday. Be mindful of the things that you actually allow to live online, because it can help you or haunt you. So just remember that too.
So that also goes to the point of years ago, I was an ambassador for Miami Social Media Week. So Social Media Week Miami. And so I used to love going to that. And one of the things one of the speakers said was, whatever you put online, you should be proud of. There should never be, now that doesn't mean you stay the same, but there should never be anything you put up that you are not proud of, right? And if you happen to put something up that you're not proud of, you need to, and that is offensive, you need to atone and apologize for it. But you wouldn't have had that problem if you were proud of what you put up. Because some of these people that put up deplorable stuff, they're not really proud of it. If you ask them, they start backtracking and backsliding and they're not proud of it, and they know it. So whatever you put up online, to Shawanna's point, be proud of it. So here's the thing. So when we're looking at monetization, a couple of different ways, or a few different ways. So we talked about the fact that you can monetize on YouTube itself, right? But that takes some time. You can also monetize your podcast. But if you're just relying on pre-roll and mid-roll ads, that could be challenging. So here's a third way. You do that, you do your YouTube or however or whatever, and then you do your podcast, but nothing is precluding you from getting your own advertising money. Going to a brand, especially if it's local, especially if it has a local audience, because local and regional works really well. And you say, hey, I have a podcast and this is my audience. It's not even about numbers per se. It's about engagement. So numbers matter, but not like they used to. Now they're looking for engaged eyes, engaged viewers. So you go and you say, listen, I know I have an audience that is this is who they are. This is what they like. They come every week, and I love the opportunity to work with you to bring your product to my audience. You can put them within your YouTube video. You can put, now again, please research the rules around that type of thing, because I know YouTube has some rules, but the whole thing is, if you're not making money anyway, you might as well go ahead and approach people, approach brands, etc. on your own and get some monetization. So that's another way of doing it. Don't wait for the platform, because truth be told, they probably don't want to pay anyway. So don't wait for them. You go out and get yours. Shawanna?
No, I love it what you're saying, because I know depending on who's viewing this, I don't want you to be afraid to even check out some of the stuff. Like I know some people that depending on, what you do, you don't even think about a YouTube short. If you do things on YouTube, you have long form, you have got to be okay to start breaking that stuff up, because I'll tell you that what I personally know, I have gotten more views off of a 60-second clip than I've gotten on some of my longer, where the value is. And it's being okay to take that and repurpose it. That's what I said. It has to be strategic. You can take the long form and cut it up. So that's where the gold is, because if people start to love you in bite sizes, then they'll actually start to consume more of what it is that you actually put out there. So don't play the shorts too short, okay? Because that's where the gold are. And when you think about repurposing, if you're saying I don't have time for all of that, you can get into batching. Me and Dr. Tachi was talking about that earlier, that those same little shorts, you can put that stuff right over on Pinterest. You can put that stuff right over on TikTok, where that's a whole nother world. That's a whole nother set of people. Hey, if you're depending on what you do as a business, you can even repurpose this same information on a LinkedIn. That's why I say you have to use video for greater visibility. It is about being seen, being heard, and known for your brilliance, for your expertise. So I need you to literally be everywhere. I am good for taking one piece, because you can best believe from something from this very show, I'm going to take this same clip where we had a dynamite moment, and you're going to see it across all of my social media, because I know that I'm able to grab people from different walks of life, because you never know when you might run across the person and who might want to be your sponsor, who might want to be the person that puts you on a bigger stage. So don't miss an opportunity because you're afraid to allow yourself to be seen and be heard in other places.
Exactly. And with that, with taking these opportunities, let's talk about another thing that we can do, because I know you like this: merch. So if we're talking about visibility and being seen and being heard, what better way to do that than to have merchandise that has a logo, a saying, a thing from something that you do? Now, there are all sorts of things around this. That's not necessarily this show, but I do have to mention some of these things. This is great. So you're going to a conference, while you're not wearing a t-shirt with something that people can see, whether it's you don't always have to do the QR code thing, etc. You can, but why are you not doing it? At least having a t-shirt or a bag that has your logo or your saying or whatever on it, where people can ask further. I love when people have those t-shirts, ask me about my such and such.
Well, you know what I've even done too? I've even in the airport, I will wear a sweatshirt that have a larger QR code, whether it's on my sleeve, on the back of the hood, where I already know when I'm in TSA, you're in the line for how long? It doesn't matter. Somebody is going to look at what you have on, and they're going to scan. You're going to get attention, because you are the brand. You are the brand. And we have to remember that, especially if you're in the business of being seen and you want people to know what it is you do. It's like, where are we advertising? Right? Where are you advertising? Again, missing the opportunity, right? I don't know if I want to go out and put that on the side of my car. However, I'm just saying there are certain benefits and write-offs when you actually wrap your car with what it is that you do. And I think people forget about that. They really do. They forget about and have the opportunity to do that. Everything that we're having on here, your earbud, right? The microphone, those represent different companies. The space over your shoulder, those are placements where you can have your product, even if you don't say it when you're on a show or doing an interview.
Absolutely. I have Be More t-shirts. That was like, I made them like,
I need one. I need one.
Yeah, I do. I made them in 2020. So I did 2 runs, but now they live on my t-shirt website, so you can go on demand.
Give me that. I need my shirt.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, I'm going to send you one. All right, I'll send you one. No problem. Give you a shirt, okay? But the point is that you should be wearing you, which
Yes.
is your brand,
Yes.
on your person so that other people can see it. It's a great way. And then you're not even thinking about it, but other people are. So it's something that should become second nature and clockwork. I think though, be purposeful in the types of things that you use as merch. I
And it's
don't
not where you
need
just grab any and
another.
everything. Everybody don't need a cup for their business. Everybody
Well,
don't need a pen.
exactly,
They
and
don't.
it
Everybody need a pen.
doesn't make sense.
No.
Well, and you know what? Pens, they're useful, right? When do you not need a pen? There are other things, but I don't need any more mugs. I'm good. I'm good on mugs. I am good on mugs. So, those types of things. So they're useful, but they should have some sort of purpose, something that people can either use on a frequent basis so that they're seeing your brand over and over. And it's debatable what that is. It really depends on what you are, who you are. If you are a carpentry business, if you don't get some tape measures with your brand on it, I don't know what to say. Okay.
Right.
So those types of things that keep you front of mind that are also related to what you do, but they also don't have to 100% be related. They could just be very useful. I will say this also, I do have to say that, there's a concern with junk and waste that you create by doing all of this. And that's why I'm saying it needs to be purposeful. If you're doing merch, you could definitely do merch. You could definitely sell merch, which is another way of monetization, not just to give away, but selling merch, but make sure it's purposeful so it doesn't become landfill.
And we have to not mention this too, taking advantage of and remembering the benefits and some of the things that we already have. We were going to talk about benefits because I'll tell you perfect.
That's not this show. That's another show.
Oh, well, see, y'all know.
That's another show. See, I know you were about to go in. That's why I stopped you.
She
That's
knows.
another
Vroom,
show.
vroom, vroom, vroom.
You were off to the races with your Indy 500 frame of mind, but I'm bringing you back in to the starting line because we're going to do that at another time. So we've talked about, let me summarize, because a good video always summarizes what we've talked about today. We were here to talk about monetizing your video, and we're kind of talking about it in a non-conventional way. So number one, you can rely on a platform to monetize once you meet their threshold, but you're not guaranteed to meet their threshold. So number two, you can also approach brands and advertisers yourself and get them to sponsor what it is that you do. Number three, we also talked about merchandise, right? But purposeful merchandise that people are actually going to use and will not become landfill. Those are just three things. Shawanna, is there anything else that you think we need to put out there to the folks?
Yeah, just remember that it's some things that you do already have with your video. Because if you're watching this, the hope is that you are producing your own video. Some forms, whether it's long or short. And if it's long, go back, take another look, take a second look. There's other tools, right? There's many of tools that you can put that stuff right in to break it up, to allow you to do even less work. Use some of the stuff that you already have so you can make money being yourself. Remember your story. There is gold in your story, showing up being your authentic self, because no one can beat you being you. And as I always say too, do something today that your future self will thank you for. And that includes even your business. So remember that.
Wonderful. Do something today your future self will thank you for. And I would be remiss if I did not add this fourth one. You should be able to teach other people what it is that you do. Yes. So courses, a book of some sort, an ebook, something that is an educational piece is another great way.
Digital downloads.
Exactly.
Yes.
So we have digital products. Anything that teaches or educates or informs is a great thing to monetize with. So again, think about your video and what you do, but how many offshoots off of this tree, how many branches off of this tree we've just presented you can you use to monetize? So we just wanted to take a quick half-hour break, a half-hour dive into this. Shawanna Kennedy, I would be remiss if I did not ask you to give your deets for the people who want to follow.
Oh, well, thank you so much, Dr. Tachi. Again, I love being here with you all. I am Shawanna Kennedy. You can find me under Shawanna Kennedy, or I am Shawanna K. I am Shawanna K. And if you want to know more about me and what it is that I get to do, I say, because God could choose and use anybody. So, but I am grateful that he uses me, and that's KennedyMediaLLC.com. KennedyMediaLLC.com. It's time for you to be seen, be heard, known, and paid for your brilliance.
And you know what? I'm not going to let you get away with not telling people about your brilliance. Don't you have 2 shows?
I do. I am
tell
super
them.
excited and hippopotamus happy that I get to grace Indie Soup Media on Monday nights Eastern Standard Time at 7 p.m. where you can check out You First. That's all things where I have amazing conversations with people just like you, some experts, where we come in and we talk about all things self-care, mental well-being, personal development, and empowerment. That's right at the top of the hour at 7 o'clock. But then we come back in right back to back with C-Suite, a CEO chat, where I get to talk to amazing entrepreneurs, business owners, and CEOs from all over the globe. We have a heart-to-heart and candid conversation about the good, the bad, and sometimes ugly of what it looks and feels like to be a CEO. So won't you join me on Monday nights at 7 and 7:30 right on Indie Soup Media Network.
Fantastic. And I realize I'm also guilty of not letting you know that in addition to Be More, I have a live show that I've been doing this is year 10, called Media Scope, all things media, tech, and pop culture. We do it every Friday night on a multitude of platforms at 8 p.m. Eastern time. Well, 8-ish p.m. Eastern time. So make sure you watch both of us on those shows if you want more of us. And of course, we can't wait to see you the next time. Shawanna is like our monthly guest. It may be more often, you never know. But Shawanna is like our monthly guest on Be More. So thank you again, Shawanna, for coming. And I hope that all of this information was useful and helpful for you, and it will encourage you to be more with your videos and live streams. Until next time, my friends, cheers.